What's up, men's physique fans, and welcome back to another video. We had 2 pro shows this past weekend and now 2 new qualified Olympians, and potentially the biggest upset of the entire year. The new Olympia qualification list has officially come out, and we have 45 current qualified Olympians. This could potentially shape up to be the biggest Olympia of all time. Now, is that taking away from the allure of the Olympia? We got to dive into it a little bit more, and I need your guys' opinion. And Omar Ventura is just a few days out from stepping on stage to earn his IFBB Pro card. And guys, the physique update that I got is absolutely insane. We are now in July, and guys, the men's physique division is heating up. We have a lot to discuss. Let's get into it.
Grapevine, but I ain't hearing nothing great. No, they wanna take it all from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look, I'm not here.
Arguably the biggest upset of the season just took place this past weekend in St. Pete, Florida at the St. Pete Pro. This show housed 8 previous and or current Olympians and 2 2024 second place show finishers, and none of them won. But before we get into the winner, let's highlight and give flowers to the top 5 placers at this show. Starting with number 5, Chevy Phillips. Chevy has been running the gauntlet this season. He has now placed 6th place at his very first show, which was Optimum, where I was lucky enough to earn my Olympia qualification. Since then, I've been following him very closely. And then, fast forward just a few weeks later, Chevy finishes 2nd place at the Alabama Pro, and then 2nd place at the Toronto Pro, and now falls back to 5th place here at the St. Pete Pro. Chevy is a previous Olympian. Chevy knows what it feels like to be on that big stage and knows what it takes in order to get there. With that, Chevy has made a lot of self-inflicted wounds throughout this season that I truly believe held him back from punching his ticket at these previous shows. But at this show, I do believe he could have placed higher. And not to mention, he had the best board shorts on that stage. So shout out to you, brother. Thank you for supporting the brand. Chevy has a great physique. He's not necessarily missing any body part. He's a great chest, great shoulders, a great back. But the one thing that Chevy does need to improve on is simply his posing. And there's no question, he did that from show to show. But yet and still, I still believe that he can emphasize his structure just a little bit better, because he doesn't have the best structure, but he doesn't have the worst structure. He has enough to win a show, and that's very clear. He just has to create a perfect unity of all of those factors in order to punch his ticket. Now, I will say this, the show was supposed to go on for the pros around 12 p.m. But from my understanding, it was actually pushed back by a couple hours. So for those of you who have been in that situation before, when it comes to peaking, you peak for a specific time frame. So if you aim to peak at 12 o'clock, but you don't go until 2 o'clock, then that can absolutely throw off your look. And that could be potentially the reason why he wasn't 100% on this day. But I seen him just a few days before the show, and that man was on. So nonetheless, coming in at 5th place, Chevy Phillips. As always, brother, I appreciate you, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you continue this season and punching that ticket to the Olympia. And coming in at 4th place, we have Anton Weatherspoon, another guy who recently competed at the Alabama Pro and has shown improvements since last week. But again, he's still not the Anton Weatherspoon of 2022 when he dominated at the Arnold Classic, when he brought one hell of a package to the Boston Pro. There is still a lot to be desired with this package, but the one thing that we have to give flowers for is the fact that he is consistently getting better. But when Weatherspoon puts it together, guys, I'm telling you right now, there's a reason why I had him in 1st place winning the Alabama Pro. And it's simply because his ceiling is extremely high. He has a very small waist. He has a great set of shoulders on him. He does need to continue to fill out a little bit more the chest, the back, the shoulders, but yet and still, you can see the differences from the first show to now, and he's heading in that right direction. So if him and his coach, who is a great coach, Mike, get it together, they figure out that recipe, because I'm telling you, the flavor must have changed over the last couple of years when you take hiatus. But when they get it together, guys, this will be another Olympian. He's already been on that stage before. He's not a novice to it. He's been in this industry and in this division for a long time. You just got to recreate that masterpiece of what you did back then in order to get to where you're getting to. Because I'm telling you guys right now, Anton will be a force to be reckoned with. And if he puts it together, he will be a 2024 qualified Olympian. And coming in at third place, I was not expecting this one. We have Deak Walker. Now, going into the show, I had Deak winning. Simply because of the package that he brought to Miami, I truly thought he was giving Vitor Chavez, our current 9th ranked Olympian, a run for his money. But nonetheless, he didn't necessarily bring that package that he brought to Miami. But he did bring a great package that was comparable. And one thing that we can expect from Deak Walker at any show that we do is simply the level of conditioning. He separated himself from everybody in the first call out, but simply how hard and grainy he was. And again, this is just something that we can expect from him at any show, whether he's off or on. Now, again, Deak had crazy separation from the back, but I do think he still needs to add a little bit more thickness to the directors to truly amplify his physique. We recently talked about this on the Men's Physique Radio podcast, where we highlight the differences and the emphasis towards structure versus conditioning, right? It's an endless debate that most people will lean towards conditioning because it looks cool. But when it comes to the structure, that is always going to be the thing that reigns supreme because the division has a specific look. Now, Deak's conditioning is so good that oftentimes it overshadows the structure that he does not have. Now, does he have a bad structure? No. But when it comes to standing next to guys who are bigger, taller, smaller waist, then it does begin to come apples and oranges of a situation. And if a judge does like apples instead of oranges, with Deak being oranges on that day, it just might not go his way. But again, with Deak being such a consistent athlete, again, being in multiple first call outs since going back until 2022, it's only a matter of time for him. And I know you guys hear me say that often, but this physique is worthy of an Olympia qualification. So I really do hope Deak continues to compete. I wanted to see him do another show after Miami because I'm a firm believer that he would have punched his ticket at some of the other shows based on some of the guys who showed up. And very similar to Chevy Phillips, when you look at this physique, what do you see? You see a guy with a great chest. You see a guy with good shoulders. You see a guy with a good back. But when you take a step further and take a look at the physique in a whole, the one thing that he is missing, very similar to Chevy compared to some of the top guys, is simply the structure aspect. So I am curious to see what he can do if he does manipulate his posing just a little bit more. He is more of a front facer in terms of posing. I do think it looks good. I don't think this is something that's necessarily hindering him, but it's also not separating him. Nonetheless, Deak Walker has a great physique. I envy his conditioning, his detail, his muscle maturity. Guys, this is what muscle maturity looks like. The density, the grain, right? Again, if he can just focus on bringing that structure to life a little bit more on stage, he will be battling it out for a top spot in these future shows. And coming in at second place after just punching his ticket 1 week prior at the Alabama Pro, we have Chris Barr. I thought he brought one hell of a package last week, but this week I thought he brought an even better package. I think his waistline was tighter, his conditioning was better, I think his back fullness was better, I think his overall fullness was better. I just simply think this was a significantly better version of Chris Barr. And because of that, I do think he was giving a run for his money to our first place victor. Now, when I was watching the live stream, I did believe that Chris Barr was going to win the show. They called out a final two, they worked these guys, and when I was looking at the waistline of Chris Barr, when I was looking at the overall conditioning of Chris, I do think that he did enough to separate himself on this day. But again, the judges thought differently. But before we get to that comparison, we have to give a massive shout out and a massive congratulations to our first place winner, Will Harris. Brother, congratulations for punching your ticket to your very first Olympia. Will is a massive presence on stage. I don't know his exact height, but when I look at this, there's no question he has to at least be 6'3". And a 6'3" individual who fills out his frame is just absolutely insane. He has great shoulders, great chest, good arms, a good back. Again, he's not really missing anything when it comes to the muscle density. And if you look at the comparison, there's no question, Wilt just stood out. His height, his structure, his overall dominant presence, and how much room he just simply took up on stage was something that the judges just could not turn their heads away from. And he improved on his conditioning. And because of that, he was rewarded. And that's the best thing about this 2024 season. You know, like every single one of these guys in this lineup, and just so many other individuals who were qualified and punched their ticket to the Olympia, didn't necessarily do it on their first try. I mean, even people like Vitor Chavez, they had to keep going. They had to be relentless, and they were rewarded because they consistently got better. They improved. And because of that, they'll be stepping on stage in Las Vegas. And I'm really, really excited because this year is going to be housing a lot of new faces, a lot of legends coming back. But before we get there, we do have to talk about another pro show that took place this past weekend that, guys, I told you it was only a matter of time. I said it then and I'll say it again. It was only a matter of time.
Felipe is somebody who I truly believe will earn an Olympia qualification at some point, whether it's international shows, whether it's continuously running the gauntlet here in the States.
Congratulations to your newest and first time ever qualified Olympian in Philip Deia. After placing 6th place at the Wasatch Warrior and 2nd place at the LA Grand Prix, Kent punched his ticket this past weekend by winning the Eurasia Championships. After taking a brief break from running the gauntlet, he decided to then go home where he lives in Dubai to rest up, recover, and simply give his body a little bit more of a break before he decided to push into the next show. And it looks like that break did his body and mental justice, because the package that he brought to this show, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it again, was absolutely insane. Again, when it comes to Ken's, his wow factor is his roundness, his pop, and is simply his muscle bellies. He's very complete from head to toe and front to back. Good structure, good posing, a great back, and a great overall fullness. What he was missing earlier this season was simply that next level of conditioning that would put him over the edge when standing next to guys who were also deserving of going to the Olympia stage. He fixed it. He brought it. And there was no question that in this show, he was lights out. And it looks like that break that he did take allowed his body to simply kick into another level when he decided to amp some things back up. But like I said, guys, it was only a matter of time. Congratulations, Kent, because you are going to your first Olympia. And coming in at 2nd place, we had a guy who I had the pleasure of sharing the stage with at the Sharu Classic in India, Anque Gahan. Guys, Anque has a very, very underrated physique. What people don't know is that he actually used to compete in open bodybuilding before making the transition to men's physique. So seeing him in person, I could see that density that simply allowed him to be successful in open, but also the shape that allowed him to be successful in men's physique. In the last shows that Anque did, he placed 3rd place in India at the Sharu Classic, and again, 2nd place at this show. And if you follow that trend, there's a good chance that India could have their 3rd Olympian qualified simply just in the 2024 season alone, after just having Buwan Chauhan previously. I want you guys to wrap your head around that. There's a good chance that India can have 3 qualified Olympians after not having one since Buwan. That's been a long time coming for any country. So it's really cool to see that bodybuilding is expanding and is growing. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if the Indian community and fan base of bodybuilding was somehow able to make it to Las Vegas, it would be a madhouse. You would think the equivalent of 10 Chris Bumsteads was in the first call out, because the energy that they bring, the excitement that they bring, the passion that they have for their people is next level. So again, I really do hope Anque punches his ticket for that reason alone. But nonetheless, congratulations, Anque. Continue to fight for it, man. You're this close, and I'm excited to see what you can do at the rest of the shows in the 2024 season. You guys have heard me say oftentimes in these recap videos, first time qualified Olympian. There has not been many multiple show winners this past season, but what there is a lot of pro shows. So after this weekend, we have a total of 45 45 qualified Olympians, and we are just now in July. So with that, there's still a good amount of time before the qualification window closes. With that, that means there are currently 21 shows left to qualify. We currently have 8 shows left before the qualification windows ends here in the States and 13 internationally. So if you do that math, there's a good chance that you can have over 65 men's physique qualified Olympians at this year's Olympia. Now, I'm a believer that everybody who qualified this season deserves to be on that stage. They won a pro show, that is the rules, and they're there. But it also kind of takes away the prestige of what the Olympia is when you see so many guys getting there. In 2022, the Olympia took place in December. Since then, they have moved the timeline up till October, so making it so there's 2 less months to qualify. And if you add on top of that, in 2022, you could still qualify off points, and that was an additional 3 people. So then there were 72 guys qualified, and right now the trajectory could be anywhere between about 65 to 66. So just adding or removing 2 months and also 3 people from potentially qualifying off points, they're still only saving about 6 total spots. And I do believe that the Olympia would be a little bit more prestigious, or have the feel of being a little bit more prestigious, if somehow they found a way to maybe limit it to 40, 50 guys. Again, I don't think it's necessary to just do the top 16, because yes, they only rank the top 16. I do think that a lot of guys should be able to step on that stage and get that experience and see what they look like next to some top guys and continue to fight to get better and come back to actually be placed. Like, that's always a goal, being placed at the Olympia. So I really do hope that they can find a way to kind of bring that prestige back. It's still the Olympia stage, so no matter what, it's an honor to be on there. But I am curious to know what you guys think. Do you think that having 65 to 70 guys on that stage is just a little too much? You know, does it add a lot of stress to the promoters, the actual show? Can they be doing more for the athletes if it was less people? That in itself could make the prestige just that much more emphasized. I'm curious to know what you guys think. When you hear the name Omar Ventura, oftentimes you think of one of these 2 things: who he's coached to the biggest stage in the world, and simply the success that he had in his coaching, right? Kaiki Pro, Andre Ferguson, Raymond Edmonds, right? Olympia champions, the most winningest men's physique pro in the world, 2-time Arnold champions. This man has had so much success in the coaching realm. Also, the posing realm. He is known for his Ventura step and also helping guys at the top level clean up what is oftentimes a big issue: their posing, their presentation. But in just a couple days, we get an opportunity to see the teacher now become the student. Omar Ventura will be stepping on stage at Mr. Universe in New Jersey, where he will be going for his pro card. And I got this update sent to me just a couple days ago from Omar himself. And guys, I no longer just see Omar as a coach. He is bringing one crazy physique. Earlier this season, Omar made his comeback at a muscle contest show where he won the classic physique division and the men's physique division. He just showed up, showed out, took his trophies, and oftentimes we would think, all right, he proved it, he did it, and now he can relax. But no, he wasn't done. He took some time to be with his loved ones, his family, but then he's got his ass right back in the prep. And I'm telling you right now, the look that he is bringing to Universe, the national show, where he is going to have an opportunity to get his pro card, is just absolutely insane. This conditioning is just nasty. I mean, you can see the detail through his midsection. I mean, and the craziest part, he's 47 years old. 47. You guys can't tell me, man, anything ain't possible. This man is an inspiration not only to all of us who look up to him, not only the entire men's physique division, but just simply anybody out there who puts limitations on themselves based off of age. And I can't wait to be there front row watching Omar go to battle. So you guys better believe we're going to have some very in-depth content coming very soon. But nonetheless, Omar, I really look forward to seeing the package you bring on stage, brother. And regardless of whatever outcome it is, even though I do think it's going to be good, brother, you inspire everybody in this men's physique division, everybody who simply looks up to who you are as a man, and also anybody who puts self-limitations on themselves based on that number. If you or a friend are looking to step on stage for the first time, get nationally qualified, or earn your IFBB Pro card, or potentially even shut it down and focus on growing into the 2025 season, I am now taking on clients for the next few weeks before I really amp up my Olympia prep. So if you are interested, all you have to do is click the link below. I will reach out to you, dive in a little bit deeper, tell you more about who I am as a coach and the services that I provide. But the one thing that I can tell you right now is that it will not be easy. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to bring out the best version of you, and I cannot wait to help maximize your potential. So with that being said, click the link below, and I cannot wait to get started. Guys, if you haven't already, check out our most recent drop from Manifest Competition, where it is absolutely insane. We just released 2 weeks ago, and at every single show since, we have seen a massive outpour of the Manifest community. Guys, I'm telling you right now, the material will be the best you have ever worn on stage. The way that it form fits and wraps around your physique will allow your overall X-frame to be amplified. The way that we slim down the waistline will allow your overall taper to be exaggerated. And I'm telling you guys, the unique colorways that we now have is something to truly allow you to stand out. So if you guys are all interested or in need of board shorts, I highly recommend you checking out Manifest Competition Wear. Support your boy, and I'm telling you guys, this will be the best decision you've made and an investment in the best version of you coming on that stage.
I'm the main attraction.